It's the 12th century in Eastern Europe. You're a young man, full of life, charm, and a dangerous amount of optimism. Tonight, you're off to see the love of your life.
Wow.
You even bathed. Big deal.
Nope.
You take a shortcut. It's a dark alley, but whatever. You've walked through worse. Then, someone steps out. Tall, pale, bad vibes. Before you can scream or draw your tiny dagger, he's on you. Fangs, blood, darkness. Congratulations, you've been reborn. And by reborn, we mean dead. Your heart stops, your organs begin liquefying, and your blood turns into something that smells like wine gone to hell. But that's all right, because from now on, you won't be needing them. 3 nights pass. You wake up in a crypt in a cold sweat. Except, no sweat, no heartbeat, no breath. You're just awake and starving. Yes, starving. Not like I skipped lunch hunger. We're talking ancient, howling, hollowed out from the inside starvation. This hunger pushes you to stumble into the night like a drunk ghoul in a burlap tunic. The stars hurt your eyes. The candle in the window across the street might as well be a bolt of lightning. Your senses are off the charts. You hear rats breathe. And now that you're back among people, you notice something. Everything smells like meat. Burnt meat. Rotting meat. Delicious meat. You see people walking past, talking, breathing. You don't breathe. You don't speak. You just watch, salivating, dying again, slower this time, weirder. You spot a priest. He smiles at you and offers a blessing. You hiss like a feral cat and sprint into the woods. You don't know why. You just know the cross he's holding made your skin sizzle like pork fat. Also, you ask yourself, when did you become so fast? Why are you so hungry? And why are all your senses so sharp? No answer. Cricket sounds. And the worst part is, no one is coming to explain any of this. No ancient vampire mentor, no brooding guide with a cape and a tragic backstory. It seems your maker is a rogue and sadistic one. He just wants to see you suffer. You got turned, dumped, and left on your own like a medieval Craigslist freebie. So you do what anyone would do. Grab a bite. You try a potato. You barf. You crave blood. So you do what any newborn vampire would do. You feed. Messily. Loudly. On anything that has a pulse. First a rat. Yuck. It tastes like food, but rotten food. Then a goat. Double yuck. You know what your body needs. You've known since you woke up. You just don't want to do it. So you say you'd rather die and sit in the same alley where it all began. As you get weaker, your maker shows up, calls you pathetic, and he leaves. So you think, this is the end. Until the priest you ran from earlier comes to the alley. He wants to help you with your reconciliation.
Nope.
No crosses this time. Just a pure heart. You smile. It must pump pure blood. He kneels beside you, full of mercy. You smell it. Clean blood. Untainted faith. You want to resist. You try. You fail. Before you know it, you lose control. Too late, you realize you drained him. All the way. He dies. No dramatic transformation, no blood bond, just dead. And just like that, you're no longer a newborn. You're a problem. You don't know it yet, but you've just made enemies in every direction. Because instead of a graceful sip, you're doing full-on feral raccoon mode. Tearing into necks like a starving peasant at a pig roast. Congratulations. You've now entered the learning phase. And as a newborn, the lack of a mentor is really killing you. Literally. Things you should learn easily are learnt by near-death experiences. So with no teacher, no syllabus, just chaos and consequences, your crash course in vampiring begins with some unforgettable lessons. Lesson 1. Sunlight. One stray sunbeam and you're sizzling like a pig on a rotisserie. You're reduced to an anxious moth, sprinting between shadows, ducking under eaves and flinching every time someone lights a candle too close to your face. Lesson 2. Holy stuff. Crosses burn. Holy water burns more. A mildly religious thought gives you a migraine. You walk past a chapel and feel like your skeleton is trying to flee your body. You used to go to church. Now you can't even look at one without twitching. Lesson 3. Running water. You can't cross it. Rivers? Impassable. Streams? No go. You once hissed at a puddle and tripped over your own feet. Rain? Feels like judgment. Lesson 4. Invitation rules. Can't enter a home without one. Not even an abandoned shack. You knock, you wait, you stew like a cursed vampire Jehovah's Witness. Lesson 5. Garlic. One bulb, you gag. One necklace, feels like someone pepper sprayed your soul. You're now officially allergic to light, crosses, water, garlic, locked doors, and polite society. You're less a predator and more a very cursed allergy test. You try to figure out feeding. It goes badly. Turns out, vampiring has fine print. Draining someone fully, they die. Sip a little, they get dizzy and forget you. Drain and feed them your blood, they might turn, if they survive the process. You learned that one the hard way. Had to put someone down. You don't want to talk about it. So now you try to feed responsibly. Vagrants, criminals, occasionally a beggar when there's no other option. You don't kill anyone, mostly. But people start noticing. The villagers whisper. The church ramps up extra blessings. Children sleep with garlic. One old woman swears she saw a bat wearing boots. You try to clean up your act. Be discreet. You even go vegan for a day, drinking chicken blood from a butcher's bucket. You vomit into a haystack and black out until sundown. Eventually, your luck runs out. A group of holy men rolls into town. A priest with a silvered rake leads them. They are not here for a sermon. They are here for you. You run. Again. Through forests, villages. Try to cross a river. Nope. Lava feeling still there. Everywhere you go, you try to be better. But you're starving. Exhausted. Alone. No guide, no help. Just raw survival. You're not a monster, just wildly undertrained and medically allergic to most of Earth. 150 years go by. To you, it felt like minutes. You're now regarded as an adult in the vampire community. You've made peace with the bloodlust. Sort of. At least now you can feed without starting a riot. Progress. You even meet others like you. The weirdest one calls himself Count Dracula. He has a human wife. Also wears a cape indoors. Says humans can understand us. Sure, Vlad. That's the good news. The bad news? You went back to your village. Everyone who ever knew you? Dead. Your name? Forgotten. Any record you existed? Erased. Except maybe one kid's drawing of a Batman. You? Still here. Lucky you. At first, immortality felt like a power-up. Now it feels like being stuck doing a group project for eternity, after everyone else dropped out. And just when you think you've flatlined emotionally, you meet her, a barmaid, Funny, kind, smiles like sunrise doesn't hurt, laughs like garlic isn't real. And for one ridiculous second, you forget what you are. You visit her taverns, help carry barrels, listen to her sing. You even try to eat bread. You throw up behind the stables. Twice. You don't tell her at first. What would you even say? Hi, I'm undead, but I like your face. You keep waiting for the right moment. When you finally try to confess, she screams, runs to the church. You could have stopped her, could have erased her memory or drained her on the spot. But you don't. Because for the first time in decades, you feel something. And it isn't hunger. She tells everyone. You flee. Again. And honestly, you don't blame her. You blame Dracula for saying humans could understand. You hope things will get better. They don't. First, time stops making sense. Second, you lose track of days. Then years. Then entire centuries blur together like a fever dream. As you witness one dynasty fall to the next. Was that King Richard the Lionheart or Richard the 15th? Doesn't matter. You didn't like them anyway.
Nope.
You keep moving. Castle to castle. Village to village. You change names like outfits. Alaric. Lucian. Steve. Nothing sticks. Because you don't. You try to keep hobbies. You once tried painting. But without a reflection, self-portraits are hard. Tried poetry. Made you cry. Then scream. Then nap for 50 years. You stop making friends. Stop talking. You become a connoisseur of despair, aging emotionally in reverse. Eventually you just wait. Wait for night. Wait for blood. Wait for something to matter again. And nothing does. You're starting to understand why older vampires lie down and never get back up. So you do the same. You sleep in crypts, tombs, or wherever the humans won't look. But the past doesn't forget. Especially when you unalived a bit too loudly back in your early days. You wanted attention. Well, you got it. Because guess what? You're on a list. A real one. Passed down by monks. Updated every time someone finds your old work. You've become legendary. But not in the fun, sexy Dracula way. More like the don't say his name or your crops die kind. Dracula, by the way? Last you heard, he snapped. Wife got killed by a mob, and he responded by wiping out an entire village. Now he's a cautionary tale told in the vampire community. Don't fall in love, don't grow attached, and definitely don't wear capes indoors. So yeah, you're not infamous. You're cursed. And now, they're coming for you. Not just pitchfork-waving peasants. Professionals. Fanatical monks with holy water grenades. Dampires. Half-vampire zealots with unresolved daddy issues. Vampire hunters who studied your weaknesses like it was their thesis. They don't sleep. They don't joke. They don't miss. You hear the chants before you see them. Smell the garlic. Feel the ground trembling beneath your boots. You fight. You flee. You hide in a crypt. They dig it up. You bury yourself in dirt. They consecrate the whole field. One guy even drops a sack of rice in your path. You laugh until your cursed undead brain forces you to stop and count every single grain. 1, 2, 3. You look up. He's halfway through drawing his sword. You survive. Barely. You fake your death. Burn your name. Sleep in caves. Avoid towns. Avoid humans. Avoid mirrors. You used to be the predator. Now you're just a very flammable urban legend with a price on your head. All this fleeing gets tiring and normal after some time. At some point, you stop counting the years. Not on purpose, it just gets repetitive. Another decade, another war, another town that builds a church on top of your sleeping hole. Rude. Congratulations. You lived long enough to wish you hadn't. You've seen kingdoms rise and fall. You've watched empires burn, borders shift, and entire religions be invented just to hate you better. You've lived through famine, plague, and one very confusing incident involving powdered wigs. 2 world wars. That should make you a veteran. You've also buried every mortal you ever cared about. Twice. Once in the ground, and once in your memory. You wake up one night to find archaeologists have dug you up, dusted you off, and stuck you in a glass box labeled Possible Mummy of Prince Edward. You're famous. Again. For being dead. You open the coffin and wonder who Prince Edward's was. The answer never comes, because when you think it can't get worse, a stray beam of sunlight from a skylight finishes what time couldn't. Poof. Ashes. The end. No eulogy, no monument, no final monologue. Just a janitor muttering, "Damn dust again," as he sweeps you into a corner. Immortality wasn't a gift. It was a chronic condition. You didn't become a god. You became a myth with blood breath, a laundry list of allergies, and 0 retirement plan. You were the night. Now you're compost. Not a legend, not a hero, just a cautionary tale with bang breath. But hey, at least it wasn't the Twilight Saga.